You are now tuned in to higher frequencies. We do this frequently. Turn your radio station to E3 for that decency. Listen to great music and the latest movement. Safe listening for anyone that's tuned in. Who you waking up to? Anna Deshawn, Q Crew and friends. It's that real talk. Online radio with the spins. You caught up in traffic, frustrated. Just check in with E3 to shift your vibrations and get elevated. That's queer radio done right. Choose to be yourself. That's the only way to live life, and that's how it's done here. Just know y'all tuned in to the greatest. Ain't no competition. We ain't worried about the other stations. Check.
What's good people? You know, this is your girl Anna Deshawn on E3 Radio with Wake Up with Anna and Friends. And today we got a friend on the show. Me and Darren go way back. And even just thinking about how I'm going to introduce him, it was, okay, decades of things. Darren, what's going on?
Hey, Anna, it's so good to be with you.
I'm so glad you're here. You are a photographer. Okay, I know you as a photographer. You're taking pictures of me and my wife at the balls. That's the thing. Okay.
Yes.
You're an advocate. I've seen you out at Prides protesting with Make Love Louder, right? Mm-hmm. Then I see you on the interwebs, praise and worship leader. Okay, yes. Sunday mornings.
Yes.
And you're a speaker. All those things, yeah.
All the things. You know, I'm probably gonna find a few more about before the end of this talk, but you know, it is what it is.
I love it. I love everything about it. How you been doing?
I've been well. I've been hanging on in the midst of a global Panera Bread. Like, there's a whole lot going on, and my thing has been, I worked from home before all of this, but yeah. I am working from home in brand new ways right now, and I'm gonna make it work because I'm a survivor.
We are hella resilient. And my black people with all their names for this here pandemic.
All the names.
Okay, Panera Bread, pancakes.
Panini.
We still here. We still here. And we're going to make it through. Okay.
That's right.
All right, y'all. And Darren, tell me, what has gotten you through this last year? What has made it, possible, you know what I'm saying, for you to survive that which was 2020 in this Panera Bread?
There's a few things. One, if you're watching, you're seeing my little background. None of this was here a year ago from today. It was, what do I like? I like lights. I like to do little silly things and have colors and projections. And you haven't even seen the stars and stuff that I can do. But I said, I'm going to have to be real comfortable being at home. And so I'm going to do the things that I like. And a lot of times as adults, we're discouraged from doing things that are our silly fantasy, our silly little fun thing. But it was just like, I knew this was going to be a year plus. So I was just like, I'm going to make sure I like my home. I'm going to redesign it. I'm going to build whatever I want to build. So I built my little home recording studio. I'm in a band, so we had to do some recording. I sing for a church, so I had to do recording. Why would I be setting up a little iPod every week that I want to record? No, I can handle this. So it's investing in my own things that I love, but also it has been reconnecting with people, figuring out new ways to have significant relationships, because that's been the thing that, we take for granted, where we connect and why and how. And I had to figure out do I even want to see some of you people? Or was I see because I was busy and I was on my way someplace? Or I really need you in my life. And I want to make sure that I have access to you. And if that means I need to set up a little calendar and just drop my link and say, hey, when are we going to hang out? Then that's what I'll do. And so it has been a real good time to reorganize, recalibrate, and to do therapy. Amen.
Yes. Amen. Therapy saves lives, okay?
Sure does.
We can praise God on Sunday and go to therapy on Monday, okay?
Probably need to.
Okay, and maybe Wednesday, okay?
Because the way these churches is set up, hey, I'm going to talk about it.
Let's talk about it today. I want to get into that conversation. As Black queer people, okay, we have had to question religion since the moment we decided and understood who we were, right? Mm-hmm. And I know that you have been very active in church and all the things. And what does it mean to be Black and queer in church? And what does it mean to look at religion and being like, that right there? that right there, that's what we're trying to fix, and that's what we're trying to change.
Right.
How have you, you know what I'm saying, done you and been you still in the
Yeah.
church?
Yeah, so a quick bit about my background. I have been in church for, you know, pretty much since I was a teenager on and active in church. But I came out in college, and immediately after coming out, had this charismatic born again experience where I stopped identifying as gay,
Mm,
and spent about 8 years of my life trying not to be gay anymore.
wow.
Um, that was ineffective, as you may know. But even after leaving that, I spent another almost almost 10 years in a church where they were basically mandating that I be celibate. And in that span, it was a lot of figuring out what really is important to me. What things am I focused on when it comes to how do I make a life that pleases God and that is sustainable? Because I'd already known for 8 years that I couldn't just become heterosexual. And I also knew that when I figured out I couldn't become heterosexual, I was trying to figure out, well, what is the truth? And I met Christians who were celibate. I met Christians who have been married to a same-sex partner and raising kids for years. And all these people seem to definitely love Jesus, but it didn't feel like anybody had the one right answer. So I figured out that one, it's going to be between me and God. And two, I have a unique calling or gift to do advocacy in the church because there are so many different opinions and our lives are in the balance. Queer youth, homeless youth are disproportionately LGBTQ. All these things are a side effect of what's happened because of church. And so it became a thing for me to use my voice and to use my skills that I learned in grassroots community organizing to speak up and to speak out, because we can't keep having this deadly impact of churches, and I'm not going to stay silent about it. And so yeah, that I got into advocating first for myself and then for others.
I love it. Quite some time ago, I did a project called My God Is Not a Bully. And,
Yeah.
you know, we did that because there was so much hate continuing to be spilled from pulpits. And we needed queer folks to know that God still loved them no matter who they were. And that Jesus said not one bad thing about gay people ever, okay? About queer people ever, right? And the opinions coming out of pulpits were not God's, but that individuals, that human being.
Right.
And it was so important for us to do that project, to hear from those influencers and leaders at that time. And it's still so very important because, to your point around queer youth, homeless youth, youth experiencing housing instability, when you're growing up, there's a couple of places where you first find community. It's with your family, and if you're church going, it's in your church.
Right.
And so when you come out, if you're rejected from your family and then you're rejected by your church, you are often left with absolutely no place to go.
Exactly.
And there's nothing worse than feeling like your family and God have turned their backs on you. And it is important for advocates and people who know better to do better and to say, no, this has absolutely nothing to do with God. This is about people and their own hate, you know,
Right.
and not what God has to say about you. So how do we flip this on the church? How do we say Black, queer, or queer people in general deserve a place at your church? How do you begin to change the hearts and minds of those folks?
Oh, I have seen this in some interesting ways. Over the years, what I've found most effective is being in relationship with the people who have the power to create policy. So that sometimes means it's the pastors, the elders of a church, the top financial givers of a church, because many churches today won't update their theology and their policy because they're worried about the givers no longer giving. And that's just how it is. But we need to be more aware that people who are talking big talk about, oh, well, the Bible says, actually they're worried about their pension and they're worried about their retirement plans. And that's, I don't want to dismiss the fact that our money means a lot, but yeah, like there's different avenues. And so what I found is that in being in relationship with people and sharing my story where I'm able, in letting them see me as a person and not as an issue, that has often built the foundation for them to start questioning what their theology is. I very recently had a pastor tell me, you know, I always loved you and I always loved serving with you on my teams, but at some point, things that were gospel or good news to me weren't good news to you. And I kept seeing that pattern over and over again. It's like, well, how can this be good news if it's not good news to Darren? You know, how can this be gospel if it excludes this person who clearly loves Jesus, is clearly dedicated, clearly given his life to build up the church? It's like, why does he have this glass wall and these kind of rule-based restrictions? And so what ends up happening is they begin to question their own stuff. And then that's when they start to have their own questions. That's when I can pass the resources like the books and the conferences and the trainings and the webinars that I do, that I'm part of with organizations like Q Christian Fellowship or the Reformation Project or the Good Fruit Project or the Trevor Project. Like, we've been doing the work to make this accessible, but there are barriers here, there, and everywhere.
I love the piece that you said that when they begin to see you as human and not as an issue.
Right.
I love that, because I believe change does happen in relationships.
True.
And I believe people begin to care when there's someone in their lives that they love, that who is being impacted by whatever it could be. Okay. But if they love them as a human being, the issue is not the issue. The person causing the issue is the issue. Right. And I think that is a beautiful point.
And I want to add to that. We did kind of lightly mention being Black in this, and that's a real important intersection for me, because for Black people who are queer, we're double minorities or double marginalized. We are not only not a part of a heteronormative society, but we're also stigmatized or asked to be don't ask, don't tell in our own Black cultures and spaces in the U.S., especially in church. And so for many people who are queer and Black, they may choose to be in a church that doesn't fully affirm their full humanity, because they don't want to give up that social relational connection, that familial connection of Blackness.
Music, child.
Hey, them choirs be good, and you got the singer who sang you under the pew.
Okay.
And when you had a bad week, you just need somebody to sing you under the pew.
That's it.
And sadly, it means that we remain complicit in our own oppression in that way. And so I name it because it is a tension to manage. It's not like I can give an easy, okay, well, you just need to leave. A lot of people will say that. And I think ultimately that's part of it. But it's not that easy. It costs something to leave the place that you're a part of, the place where your family is, the only place you've ever known to worship. And so I'm like, so yeah, sometimes you affect change from within, and sometimes you get out and say, hey, here's why I left. But either way, it's hard and it's costly for us, because we just want to live, right? We just want to be humans. We just want to love who we love and live the best life we know how. But we have to explain ourselves for being Black and explain ourselves for being queer, and that's not easy.
It's not easy. It's exhausting. And oftentimes you're going to go to church to get filled up, not to be depleted.
Exactly.
By explaining our identities. And
right.
I want to go back, Darren. I feel like we could be here for a long time. I want to go back to the moment.
That means I just got to come back.
I think that's the thing. Okay. Go back to the time where, those 8 or 9 years where you were, I'm not going to be gay. I'm not going to be queer. I'm going to, do what was being told to you is what God said you're supposed to be. Tell us a little bit about those years. How did you come out of that? Like, what was the moment that you said, this is not who I am?
Yeah, it was very sweet. It was very, we're going to help you. We're going to work with you, right? It's never just like Jesus being tempted in the wilderness. It wasn't this big red figure who came with horns and a cape, looking like the Montero video. Instead, it was a familiar voice. It sounded like a suggestion of what Jesus came to do. Oh, I'll give you the whole world if you just bow down to me. Oh, I'll help you if you just give up going to school. I'll help you if you just let go of all those gay friends. I'll help you. And it sounds like this is the thing you're supposed to do because it's packaged as help. It's packaged as care for your soul. I don't want you to go to hell. And I'm realizing in retrospect that I actually never thought I was going to hell. They had guilt and shame about what was something that was true in me, and they basically put it on me to work it out. So what saved me in that was that I had friends who didn't try to tell me what to believe, including my mom, but instead were willing to just be with me no matter what, willing to just be my friend, be committed, be there for whatever I needed. And because of those people, when I did start to question my own context, when I got more and more restrictions, it went from, okay, well, don't go to school. Okay, now move into the church basement. Okay, now give up your car. Okay, now cut off those friends because they taking you back. They're bringing those spirits to you. As it got worse and worse, and I lost more and more and more and started to feel worse and worse about myself. And I told my closest friends to forget about me. And these people would not forget about me. Again, they never pressured me. They never forced me, but they wouldn't forget about me. And they would just ask questions that helped me question what was going on. Does God really want you to give up everything like this? Is this the future that God has for you? And I just began to realize that there was something not healthy about the church that I was in. I didn't immediately come to the conclusion that I could be gay and Christian, but I realized my church wasn't healthy, and asking those questions was really important to me, realizing I might need to step away for a season.
I love that your friends would not let you go.
Yeah.
Right? Chosen family is so incredibly important,
right,
to queer folks, because you need those people in your life who will say, I know you're going through this. I'll let you have your moment, but I ain't going nowhere.
Right. I ain't going nowhere for real.
I ain't going nowhere for real. I got you. I know what you're going through. And there's some real battles that folks have around the church. And there is an idea that is embedded that says you cannot be Black, LGBTQ, and love God. And what I love telling people is that I can do all of that.
Hey, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me.
You better take it to church. You understand? And my God is she, my God is he, my God is they. My God is a reflection of me.
Because why does God need to be binary? Who said that?
Who said that?
My God is transcendent, okay?
See, Darren, we're going to have a whole nother show about this.
We going to do it. And it's going to be all right.
It is going to be all right. And I was just thinking about doing a Black queer gospel concert.
I love that.
And I was thinking about this because, one, I feel like Black queer people in the church get regulated to a couple of roles. Okay, a couple of places we can be and nobody's gonna bother us. Okay, but the place where I want to put Black queer artists is not only in the front, but celebrate, amplify their identity, not just their voice and their talent that gets used up by the church, and their identities are not equally as celebrated. And there's just so much value in that to me, because there's so many artists out here who have struggled with the church. And one thing I know for certain is that you don't have to struggle with the love that God has for you.
Come on.
Oh, don't get me started in here, Darren.
You
Darren,
might as well. Let me find this app so I can play this organ sound. We're going to have church real quick. It might be triggering, but we're going to reclaim some stuff while we in here too.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot for us to reclaim. I think there's a lot of spaces that we need to reclaim. And I also think that when you talk about the complacency that so many Black folks fall into with the Black church, and so many things that we accept the silence as well, right? We accept Oh, he don't say nothing bad about gay people. Does he say anything? Because I want to be clear. Like, I want to be clear when I walk in exactly how you feel about me. Oh, so I can attend and we can have a group, but I can't get married here. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I can attend, I can give my tithes, and then you just won't ever affirm me. Oh, okay. I can come, I can attend. Oh, I can be your choir director. Oh, okay, but I can't hold any positions of any other authority. Oh, okay. There's a lot of fixing.
I was in two churches where in the first church, which I call my cultist church, they restricted me from being a leader, but they still wanted me to do the photography, and they still wanted me to decorate, and they still had me do the website, and they still had me like all these things. I could do the stereotypically gay stuff just in the background, and they give somebody else credit for it. But then in my other church, it was, oh, well, you're still struggling. So we're going to ask you not to stand at the front of the stage with the microphone and sing, but you can still be the communications director for our 200-person music ministry. You can still do all these other things, organize all this other stuff. And we're just going to ask you not to be at the very front of the stage when you do it. Because again, we're so worried about appearance and behavior control, we miss exactly how we're harming people and invalidating people and making them question their worth.
Yeah.
Because clearly y'all need me, but y'all don't want to admit that you need me.
Right. Because then what does that say about you? People's sexuality and gender identities are just so fragile that they hurt others in the midst of their fragility. Child, y'all, Darren's got to come back another day.
Clearly.
Okay.
Because we got to talk about how your church needs to name you in policy and in writing that they are protecting LGBTQ folks. Because if you can't find it on the website, who's gonna hold it? Who's gonna hold them accountable? Nobody. Who's gonna check them? Boo.
Nobody, baby.
And if y'all don't affirm LGBTQ people, why can't you say it with your chest? So that's a whole nother episode. I'm gonna let you have your show back.
I don't know what to do with this show. I ain't gonna throw it away, but we're gonna put it on the shelf because we're gonna need to come back to this one, y'all. Family, you tuned in to Wake Up with Anna and Friends. Darren will be back. Just stay close. Don't go nowhere.
Love you, y'all.